Here with Pawsitive Futures Dog Training and Behavior, and today we're going to talk about how to select equipment for you and your dog to get involved in the sport of Canicross. So if you don't know, Canicross is a dog-powered sport of running with your dog. So it's a little bit more involved than just clipping a leash on your dog and going out running. They're actually connected to you with a line and a harness, and the dog is out in front of you pulling, helping you run. You give directional cues to get them to turn right and left, to go straight, to stop. So you're gonna make sure that before you get involved in the sport, you've got the right equipment to make sure that you guys can run safe and happy. The first thing that we're gonna talk about today is a harness for the human, all right? This is a waist belt. And what we're gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on here. This is one style of harness that fits around the lower back. So it's gonna fit just above the hips, okay? And then we've got these leg straps here. And at first, they might feel a little bit awkward for you, but you're gonna need to work on adjusting them, okay? So play around with it, see how tight and loose you like them, see how it feels comfortable. But these actually help stabilize the harness and distribute the pressure that the dog puts on you from pulling a little bit more evenly, okay? You can see here in the middle, we've got a place to attach the dog, all right? We've got straps to adjust. Now, one of my favorite things about this harness is that it's got extra padding and a wide back, okay? So I personally run with Malamutes. They're big, they're strong, and they pull really heavy. So this extra padding helps support my back a little bit and helps make this more comfortable for me, all right? We also have some extra straps here on the side where I could clip a carabiner with car keys or an extra saddlebag to put treats in, or my cell phone, or cleanup bags. And I really like this for when we're training on trails. Now, the downside to a harness that's this bulky and heavy is that it's heavy, right? So if you're looking for a belt that you're gonna go do some Canicross 5K races and you want something that's more lightweight, you're gonna wanna think about that before purchasing. They do have belts that are more streamlined than this, that almost look from the backside like you're wearing a swimming suit. Those are gonna be lighter weight, more minimal, and you're gonna be able to run a little bit faster in those. So I like to have a belt that I can use for each, and it's just something that you want to think about when you're making the harness selection for you and your dog. Okay? The next thing that we're going to think about is the line, okay? Now, this is different than a leash that you might use to go do a walk in the neighborhood with your dog, all right? The main difference is this section right here. It's a bungee, okay? So when I pull on it, it's gonna allow for a little bit of shock absorption, which is really important when you're running with your dog, to reduce the pressure on your dog and you every time you pull, okay? Now, a lot of these lines will have a clip on each end so that you can connect to the dog and connect back to the human. The other thing I want you to think about is the length of this line, okay? If you're new to the sport, you might want something that's a little bit shorter, because if it's really long, the dog is way far away from you, it might be harder for you to help redirect them if they respond the wrong way to a directional cue, or to wind them back up to you if you're encountering another dog on the trail. So generally for beginners, a shorter line is gonna be a little bit easier to get you guys started. If you're planning on doing anything extra like bike touring or scootering, you are gonna want a longer line so that the dog is further out in front of you, gives you a little bit more reaction time to stop your vehicle so you don't bump into your dog. Now, this one is made from fabric, which I really like because it's really easy for me to grab a hold of it and stop my dog. It doesn't hurt my hands when the line kind of pulls through, okay? Some of them actually do come with handles on them. So if you are thinking you're gonna need a little bit more control over your dog, I would look into those so that you can just reach forward, put your hand through that handle and grab them and help guide them a little bit more. Makes your life a little bit easier. So this is our line. Now, the next thing that we are going to talk about is a harness for our dog, okay? Now, these are really different than the harness that you're gonna use loose leash walking or doing nose work or anything like that, any other sport you might be involved in. These are specifically designed to allow full range of motion, full deep breaths, and appropriate pressure when pulling, okay? So make sure you get a harness that is specifically designed for Canicross or dog mushing sports. Now this one in particular, this is a short harness, meaning that it's going to end right behind the shoulders of the dog. So dogs that are a little bit sensitive about equipment on their body, you might find this one helpful. We still have nice padding around the neck here and on the chest plate, but you can see the attachment is nice and short. Now, you might think this looks like a harness that you've had before, but as you can see, this pulls through. So if your dog is out in front of you and they're running a little to one side, it changes how it's going to put pressure on their body, making sure that it's always evenly distributed for them. So this is actually the Howling Dog distance harness, and this one works really well, like I said, for those that are a little bit body sensitive or don't like a bunch of equipment on them. It's also good for dogs who like to back out of a harness because it does have this extra clip here, okay? Now, your other option is a X-back harness, okay? So this is actually a custom harness, which is a great option for those dogs that might be a little uniquely sized. Maybe their shape isn't standard. You can measure your dog, and from where you buy your harness, it will tell you how you should measure. They'll help you through that process. But you can measure to make sure that you get a harness that is going to fit them, all right? You can see we still have the sliding X here in the back, like I mentioned with the short distance harness, so that you get even distribution of the pulling, all right? As you can see, this one is a little bit longer. So this point of attachment is actually gonna be all the way back at their tail, okay? So this is another pretty common harness that somebody would run Canicross or other dog mushing sports in, okay? So you're gonna wanna make sure that you're researching different brands, different options to make sure that you're picking something that is appropriate for you and your dog. Okay, so we have the hip belt, harness, waistband for the human. We have a bungee line to attach the dog to you, and then you've got a harness for the dog. So those are the three main pieces of equipment that you're gonna need before you head out on the trails with your dog. I hope that you have success. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments below, and we'll be happy to help guide you to different outfitters and places that you can find some more information about different harnesses, lines, and belts. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to hit subscribe and like so that we can keep sending these videos directly to your inbox. Thanks for joining us, guys. Have a good one.